Hello, everyone, and welcome to Retro Filmdango episode. I'm not sure, but what's this? The Godfather episode. That's all you need to know. You don't need to know if this is episode 36 or 37. It's the Godfather episode, but I think it's 37. I'm pretty sure.
Well, we didn't separate 36 from the regular Fandango.
Well, we didn't do an outline.
Well,
with
we
long
just talked
shots.
about that during a regular episode.
Yeah.
So was that a Filmdango?
Oh.
Is it a mini Filmdango?
And then we did a stream of long shots, so that could count as the Filmdango as well.
I don't know. Well, that was a viewing.
But you know what? Maybe we should just do away with the numbering. Who cares? This is just the Godfather episodes. This is the one where we talk about Godfather 1, 2, and take a little dump on 3 and move on.
So you can't not talk about it.
3?
You always have to throw some little comment.
Well, it's there. It's just there. You have to mention it. It's there.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is the show. This is the episode. This is the thing that we do where we talk about the Godfather. And if you haven't tuned into one of these before, you're in for a real treat, man. This is going to be a blast. We're going to talk about the Godfather 1. And then when we're done that, we're going to talk about the Godfather 2. And then when we're done that, we're going to sign off and you're going to have to find something else to do. That's this show.
Okay, yeah. Who are you telling this to?
All the people who are watching right now.
Oh, those people.
There's tons of them. We normally do 3 movies, right? And we're only talking about 2 movies. So this is how I stretch it out to a full episode.
The length of these 2 movies could have been 4 movies.
3. Well, yeah, the 2 movies. Yeah, I guess you could make it into 4.
You could stretch this in. Yeah, you could stretch this into 4 reasonably length movies. Whatever happened to the 90-minute movie? Come on.
These movies are from the 70s. It's not a new trend. They're 50 years old. This isn't like the latest thing.
No, but it's had a revival. You find all these 3-hour plus movies.
Okay, well, see, I think The Godfather is 1 and 2 are movies that are worthy of their length because they have rich characters and a rich story to tell. It's not a bang, bang, shoot 'em up space aliens story that goes on for 2.5 hours and doesn't need to be 2.5 hours. These stories have a lot to say. There's a lot in them, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm glad that they developed the mini series.
Yeah, I don't like the miniseries. That actually kind of annoys me when something new comes out and Sarah starts describing it to me. She's like, yeah, there's this thing and it's on this, it's about this person and they're at a hotel and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like a good movie. Oh, no, it's not a movie. It's a miniseries. It's 6 episodes long. Mm-hmm. Like, no, just give me a documentary. I don't need a docu-series about everything. Just give me a 90-minute or even a 2-hour.
That's what
movie.
I just said. It can be a
no. You said the
length.
miniseries. You said miniseries. You said
yeah. Well, a miniseries you can take your time and chop it up in little pieces. You got a lot to say. So okay, here's a little bit. Here's a little bit. You can digest that.
No. I don't want 6 of them. Just give me one movie. That's it. I don't need 6 unless it's worthy of that. Unless you have a lot to say, then fine. But if it's just a documentary on like someone going crazy in a hotel,
circled right back around. You said these movies have a lot to say.
These ones do. They're worthy of their time.
So if you got a lot to say, it's worth doing a miniseries.
Okay, so no, not a miniseries, just movies. Movies. I want movies. I don't want miniseries. That's what I'm trying to say. Look, 6 hours of a miniseries is still longer than these 2 movies.
Not by much.
It's still longer.
This is still longer.
No, it's not. Okay.
It is. This is nearly 6.5 hours.
It's 6.5 hours, right? If you
Which is longer than 6 hours.
Yeah. Whatever. Anyways, I don't want miniseries. I don't want miniseries. I want movies. That's my point. I don't like miniseries. There's too many miniseries. Every time I sit down, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get a movie. A movie I can digest in an evening. I can digest one movie in an evening. A miniseries takes me 6 days to digest, and I don't want that.
It's gonna take 6 days to digest this podcast if we don't get started.
All right, let's go. Let's get to the trailer of. How do I do that again? I gotta share the screen.
Yeah.
Share.
Hey, Steven. Hey, Kyle. Thanks for coming out.
Godfather trailer. Share. There it is. Go on the widescrreen. Hit the play.
Let's listen to the theme while we stare at pictures. Have you watched these trailers?
I've watched the second one's more like that than this. I guess this one's a little bit like that. Can you hear that okay?
I can't hear anything.
Oh, frig, I forgot to share.
While you're trying to figure that out, I did find out yesterday that in about 20 minutes, there's going to be somebody outside the house cutting trees.
So, about 20 minutes.
Yeah, we're going to have a little noise in the background.
Great.
It's also really windy out there.
Here we go. Share audio. Here we go. All right, ready? Boom. Now this is a trailer. Good. There's a good theme. It's a good theme.
It's a nice theme.
It's
fitting. It's fitting for the movie because it takes forever. It's a very slow.
Oh boy!
Sit back and relax.
Yeah, who wants to? Oh yeah, there you go. There's the line. Yeah, who wants to sit back and relax, right?
Why do you think everything I say is negative? Because it's a slow-paced.
You said it with
music that takes its time.
You said it with
you can sit back
file in your mouth. You didn't say, "Hey, this movie takes its time." You said, "This movie takes its time."
However you want to read into that.
Oh, spoiler alert! You can't watch this movie now.
Well, they're really just showing the entire movie. All of this is in chronological order.
This is 1972, man. That's how you did it back then. Oh, spoiler alert!
They're showing all the good.
Oh, spoiler alert! Get out of here, Tom.
I guess this was the older style where you show everything important that happens, and then people think, I wonder what brought that about. Let's hear the conversations that led to that.
Are we going to get nudity in the trailer?
Oh. It's pretty close.
Man, it was. Oh, spoiler alert. This trailer would not stand today. Oh, spoiler alert. I love this fight. Spoiler alert for this podcast. Oh, Clemenza.
We're doing everything.
Mo Green. Spoiler alert. Oh. Spoiler.
This is like this is a contemporary YouTube where they just do like the Godfather body count, just show all the good scenes.
Maybe that's what this is.
This isn't even an original trailer. Look at that. They didn't do this.
You know what the best is? Just trolling Richard with these trailers. That's great. Okay. That was done by Al MacGyver's RD. Come on. Now he did an Animal House trailer. You want to watch that too?
Oh boy, I hate people recut trailers.
Are
these like student projects? Are they trying to impress their professors? Like, check out my modern day trailer.
It would be so boring if I just went and got the original trailer. You got to do that. You got to do it.
Well, it's the same thing, just without all the shootings. It's just the score and then lots of pictures.
Yeah.
Done like a family photo album.
Yep.
Are you gonna rent the movie? Why? I just saw the best part.
Hey, look.
I love the Simpsons references that I can still remember.
So, I love the Godfather 1 and 2. That's the reason why I wanted to do these movies. I want Richard's never seen them, or he's only seen bits and pieces here and there. So I wanted him to watch them. That's why we're doing it right now. So I've seen this up to a number of times. I was impressing Sarah by finishing the lines before the characters would. I'd say, take the gun. No, leave the gun, take the cannolis. Stuff like that. That's it. That's all I got to say about these movies. What did you think of Godfather, Richard?
Well, yeah, I think what you said is right. I don't know that I'd seen the entire movie before. I might have fallen asleep when we're watching this at school, because I mean, there's certain scenes in university.
Oh,
during a film class,
right.
But I would often fall asleep in those classes because it's just the time of day and they shut the lights off and you're like, all right. I had a teacher, she didn't do anything other than show movies. She would just say, hey, welcome. All right, today we're watching this. All right, turn it on as soon as the movie's over. All right, see you next week.
You're really selling film school, man.
It's so easy to fall asleep in that class. That was her class. Although she did have a great horror sci-fi class I took during the summer. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, I'm forgetting to do the rundown and everything, man. I forget how to do this show. But we haven't done one of these since December. So
rundown. Oh yeah. An organized crime dynasty's aging patriarch transfers control of his clandestine empire to his reluctant son. Did you write that?
No, I love those IMD rundowns of these shows, man. They just get right to the point. One sentence.
Use them because they were so short.
I love it. It's just boom, one sentence. That's it. You don't need to go into detail.
Did you take the one for?
Yeah.
Yep, you sure did.
So this film stars Marlon Brando, Al Pacino, James Caan, and Robert Duvall, among others. You got Talia Shire. You got what's her name? Diane Keaton. You got a lot of people in these movies.
Abe Vigoda.
That's right. And you got Clemenza. Can't go wrong with Clemenza. The director is Francis Ford Coppola. The writing credits are Coppola and Mario Puzo. Runtime is 2 hours and 55 minutes. Budget was between 6 and 7 million. A lot of that, I think $1 million of that was for Brando's salary. And box office was 246 or 287 million in $1972.
1932?
It said 72.
Did you?
Yeah. But that could be back in the 70s, they would the movie would run in the theater and then it would keep running. It just was running for a long time. It didn't
this was an immediate success. This was big from the get-go.
Yeah.
So people had nothing else to do. Go to the movies.
Give us our first fun fact.
Sit there all day watching this thing. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, it was good.
Lenny Montana?
Yeah.
Montana.
Yeah.
Luca Brasi was so nervous about working with Marlon Brando that in the first take of their scene together, he flubbed some lines. Director Francis Ford Coppola liked the genuine nervousness and used it in the final cut. The scenes of Luca practicing his speech were added later. That was a wonderful little moment. Just seeing this guy sitting outside, mumbling to himself this prepared statement.
See, that's why.
What in the world is going on here? And then it plays out in the office there.
It's happy accidents like that make a movie like this lightning in a bottle. You can't manufacture something like that. And the reason why that works so well is because Luca Brasi is introduced as this nasty, nasty guy. Like the story that Michael tells about him with the contract, right? To Kay. And so he's set up as this really nasty guy. And to see him so nervous in front of Vito Corleone, that just shows you how badass Vito is, right? If a guy like Luca Brasi is all nervous around him and trying to impress him. It's a good movie, man. James Caan improvised the part where he throws the FBI photographer's camera to the ground. The actor's frightened reaction is genuine. Caan also came up with the idea of throwing money at the man to make up for breaking his camera. As he put it, where I came from, you broke something, you replaced it, or repaid the owner. That is a good move, right? You break his camera, then here you go. Get out of my face.
As long as you got the cash to do that, sure.
Yeah. You okay there?
Yeah, dropping stuff. The smack that Vito gives Johnny Fontaine was not in the script. Marlon Brando improvised the smack, and Al Martino's confused reaction was real. According to James Caan, Martino didn't know whether to laugh or cry.
You can act like a man. You come here like some Hollywood fanook. No? All right.
No, I saw this for the first time. I'm not going to remember every word.
Well, that's what he says. You can act like a man.
I got you.
Francis Ford Coppola turned in an initial director's cut running 2 hours and 6 minutes. 2 hours. That's wrong. Paramount Pictures production chief Robert Evans rejected this version and demanded a longer cut with more scenes about the family. The final release version was nearly 50 minutes longer than Coppola's initial cut.
I would be curious to see that version.
Nope. No interest.
Because if they wanted to add more scenes of the family, like what was it that he was focusing on? You know, I'm kind of curious.
I imagine a lot of it might have been the opening. Who knows? Anyways.
Oh, more of just wedding background. Francis Ford Coppola held improvisational rehearsal sessions that simply consisted of the main cast sitting down in character for a family meal. The actors and actresses couldn't break character, which Coppola saw as a way for the cast to organically establish the family roles seen in the final film. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it, man. Because they do seem to have chemistry.
Yes.
All right.
And there's two things I want to pull out of that fun fact. One, I'll say this right from the beginning. I like food in movies. I like people sitting down and eating dinner and having meals together. Not in a, like, the scene is people are sitting down, like, oh, let's go to a restaurant and we're going to eat. It always feels a little phony there. Like, it's just a backdrop. But one thing that this movie does well, the sequel does well, and honestly, a lot of gangster movies seem to get it right, is having a real family reaction, you know, to a meal. When people sitting down and they're eating and they're talking, and the meal is never really the focus. It's part of the experience. Because kind of like in that fun fact, when I would get together with my, again, it's like, I guess the Italian thing really sells it. When I would get together with the Italian side of my family, there's always some food involved. We were sat down at the dining table. You know, we didn't meet in the living room. We didn't go in any other place in front of the TV or whatever. We always sat at the table.
Yep.
And there was always some kind of food going on. And that's where all the discussion happened. And it just feels like that's a realistic environment. And these people do behave like a family.
Yeah.
They're not posing with forks and knives for a dinner scene.
Yeah, they're eating. And that was my Nona's house. She had a front door. It was off to the side, but I swear that thing was painted shut because no one ever went through there. Everyone went through. There was like a side door towards the back of the house, and the first room you entered in, well, there was like a little, what do you call it? Like a room,
like a vestibule, little
entry
thing. Yeah.
But your entranceway into the house was into the kitchen. Right into the kitchen, there's the dining room thing. You took off your shoes because we're Canadian. We take off our shoes, and then you sit down, and she serves you something to eat. And that's the way it was done.
Yep.
That's it. And that what this movie does really well is it shows that family. You know, that you really get that sense of family. That even though they might not all agree on something, they all really love each other, and they're really pulling for each other, even though they're doing these terrible things off to the side. And it's really, that's what I find that all the good mobster movies do, is that they give you that sense of family, belonging, taking care of things on your own, but there was that downside to doing all of these criminal actions, right? Is that you were always having to look behind your back. You never knew when you were going to get it. You never knew when you were going to get plugged. So it's always that yin and yang. It's like you want to be part of this family when your sister comes in and she's all beat up, and now you can go beat up that guy and smack him around in the street and knock the shit right out of him, and that feels great and everything. But you don't want to be part of this family when you get a cold one day and you miss your day, you miss your shift, and the big guy gets plugged while you're at home sick. And that's these movies in a nutshell right there. That's what I'm pulled in every direction. I want to be part of it, but yet I'm like, oh man, I do not want to be part of this family.
Oh no, but after watching these things, you're impressed and you feel like, wow, that was so cool, amazing, whatever. But at the end of it all, I just feel like, wow, what a sleazy group of people. Like,
yes, they're not good.
They're terrible, terrible things. It's just sympathetic yet very unlikable. Like,
we can get to it a little more in the second movie. The second movie really contrasts that really well. I can just talk. Well, I'll talk about it a little bit right now. The second movie, what that one does really well is it shows the peasant beginnings of the family. With Vito, like the peasant that's trying to make his way in America and kind of getting the shaft. He loses his job and that, so he's got to find other ways to make money and all that. He starts off innocently enough by doing stuff for the family, but then the movie constantly contrasts that with modern Mike with his IBM stocks and all that and doing terrible things and all that. And it's like, look at the contrast kind of thing. And then you were talking about food. Like this movie doesn't even just show them eating food, but I also love that scene where Clemenza is showing, did he show Michael how to make the sausage and make
fry your sausage and meatball?
Yeah. And just the whole, like how they have all that stuff. Like that's the stuff that I grew up with my family.
Yeah, there are often scenes where some dialogue will be going on in the beginning, and in the back you see a whole table full of guys passing around plates.
Yeah,
and there's somebody's always eating. There's always something going on. It's not people standing around. This contrasts that whole sitcom style where people are just sitting around on the couch waiting for somebody to walk through the door and trigger a conversation, and they'll talk about what happened at school or some new thing they bought. Like, no, this is like a house. It's like it feels real. You can believe that people live there. One shot I really like is when Vito comes home from the hospital, and they're wheeling that gurney into the house, and there's all the people lined up on the stairs, like watching them come in, and the area is so tight. Like even without those people there, that looks like a real house. It's not some Hollywood house where they got, he's the Godfather. They got tons of space. Or you see Sonny's house when he gets the news of his father being shot. And he's in the kitchen. And it's like, that looked like my kitchen, where I grew up. That wasn't some fancy, they got all the money and power and influence in the world, so they live in this big mansion. It's just like, that was a real house.
Yeah, until like... and that's like where they go with Michael later, where he's got so much money.
Then he's got the big well again, they're in New York, and then you go out to Nevada where,
he's got way more.
They got the big space out there.
Well, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. Like I just love how like these guys, they're mobsters, but they also they got to do like the normal everyday family day stuff, Like I love that scene where they're going to go kill that guy who missed the day of work because he was sick, right? And Clemenza gets the job, so he's the one that's got to go out and do it. And they always like real casual, like nothing's going on, don't worry about anything, everything's good. We'll casually like, oh yeah, we got to go out to say I got to go do this, I got to go do that, got to go do this. And meanwhile, like Clemenza's job is to go shoot this guy out in the bush somewhere, right? Like that's the job at the end of the day. So. But as he's, he gets the guy to come pick him up. He's going to kill, come over and pick me, because he's not going to go, like, he's the capo, right? He's not going to go do it himself. It's those little touches in these movies that are really well done. And as he's leaving the house, his wife is busting his chops about these cannolis, right? Don't forget the cannolis. You got to go bring the cannolis over to this person and all that. He's like, yeah, freaking cannolis. Go pick, and do the cannoli thing. And I just love that. Like, even like they just commit cold-blooded murder. They just kill that guy, and they walks up to the car and he's telling his number one guy there. It's like, leave the gun, take the cannoli. Don't forget the cannolis, because the old lady needs the cannolis. And then they get in another car and they leave. It's just so brilliant, so good. Like any other movie, it would just been like shoot that guy, make a big dramatic scene, like, oh, don't kill me or whatever. And nope, just done in cold-blooded murder, without him even knowing it.
Well, that it really makes you think of that scene in Pulp Fiction when the two hitmen are going to the apartment at the beginning. It's like, let's get into character.
Yeah.
They have their regular life and then they have the work that they have to do.
Right.
But everything is so duplicitous, they have the one side, the other side, the same character, right? When that decision is made, Sonny is in the room with a couple of people, and I forget the kid's name, the sick kid.
I'm forgetting his name too.
Oh, Mister, I love these movies. I've seen them 100 times. I can finish.
I forget one character's name who has like 2 lines. Sorry.
So he comes in and he's wiping his nose, and Sonny's like, "Hey, you feeling all right? You need something to eat? You want to get in the fridge and this, that?"
Yeah.
The door closes. I don't ever want to see him again.
And then it gives Clemenza the command to go do it, and Michael's sitting there, and there's a bunch of witnesses there, but they're the family. They're not going to turn on each other,
Just business.
Yep.
All right. So here, I'll give you my overall thoughts. One, I think the movie is too long.
No, disagree.
2, I think.
How is the movie? We got it. How is the movie too long? Explain. Like, what exactly should they have dropped? What exactly?
I think they could have cut a significant amount of the wedding footage.
Nope.
Of just all of that. Are we having 100%. A discussion, or is this just going to be you telling me I'm wrong?
You're wrong because opinions? Look, I did the perfect thing.
Goodbye.
I set up watching these movies with watching a terrible Steven Seagal movie called Submerged, and that movie, like it's got like a gang of characters, a cast of characters in it, right? And Steven Seagal walks into a room, and he's got to deal with the government. He's supposed to be in prison, but he's got to deal with the government, and he's got this ragtag group of people that he's going to work with on this thing. Like the government made a deal with him, like if you go in and you free this. I can't remember what the hell it was. If you go in and do this thing for us, we'll give you a pardon, and go get yourself a bunch of criminals to come with you, and we'll give them a pardon too. So he walks into this room, and he's got all of his friends there, and the movie introduced all of these guys like this. Here's this guy. It freeze frames on him, and it gives a little readout, and then goes to the next guy, and goes to the next guy, goes to the next guy, and I'm just like, this is awful, man. I can't. Who the hell is who? They either work for the SAS or the USA. I can't tell who the heck is who. And then they just go off on their adventure. Meanwhile, and then the next day I'm watching The Godfather, and I'm like, this is brilliant. The way they slowly introduce all the characters. They give you a sense of, again, that they're all a family in that. And if they sped that up too quickly, the rest of the movie wouldn't have been as effective. You needed that scene where the guy's coming up and asking the Godfather, for the special favor and how it all works and all that. And, basically because if you don't show that, if you don't show their good qualities, all you're going to see is their negative qualities. All you're going to see is their bad stuff, and you won't feel for as much as the characters as you do. So I don't agree that should be cut down. Now, what else can I pick apart?
Okay, so they should not have as much footage of the wedding because it goes on way too long.
Nope.
I have no... Goodbye. I'm not in the mood to just be told I'm wrong for all my opinions.
I didn't say you're wrong. I just say I don't agree. That's all.
Gone. Bye.
Is this really happening? I think he left. Well, Is that the end of Retro Fandango? Like, I don't see him in here at all. Man, not even Joe has done this to Bill. This is something else. I think this is it. I think the show just got canceled. Did anyone else watch the movie in the chat? Does anyone else want to join? I'm serious. He's not in. I don't see him at the bottom here. I think he left. So let's see. Did he send me something on Twitter? Maybe I'll ask him if he's coming back. Are you coming back? Oh, that's right. Yeah. Rocket Sauce, you are right. Should make for a fun record tomorrow. We got to do this again tomorrow. We're talking about Ghostbusters. Do we do that live, Rocket Sauce? You guys don't broadcast that live, right? You record it behind the scenes. Okay. I mean, I was just saying I don't agree with him. That doesn't mean that he's wrong. It just I don't agree. Well, he's typing something. Now he stopped. You don't. Okay, so we're just so yeah, we don't do it live. You just record it later. Okay. To be fair, that's perfectly on point for these shows. Well, yeah. He's getting a new cup of tea. Well, you know what? I might as well play the trailer for Godfather 2, right? Like, I mean, what else am I going to do here? I mean, I thought that was pretty good, eh? That trailer. I knew that would get Richard. This one's a legit trailer. See, I was going to come back with a legit trailer. How do I do that again? It says I'm sharing that one, but I don't. What do you guys see? If I add this to stream, nope. See, that's my Twitter. What the heck? Oh, I see what I gotta do. Terrific episode, right? By the way, this is brilliant podcasting. All right, here we go. Let me share this now.
The Godfather Part 2, winner of 6 Academy Awards, including Best
We're watching
Picture
the
of the
Godfather.
Are we on to this already?
Well, what else was I going to do?
I don't know.
Best Supporting Actor,
Let me
Robert
talk.
De Niro.
Let me have my opinion.
I wasn't.
Best
All I said
Director,
was
Francis
no.
Ford Coppola.
I said no.
Best Original Dramatic Score.
Right, go talk.
Go talk. I got a
Yeah.
whole bunch of
There you
questions
go.
here. Okay, if I go back again, wedding goes on too long. I would like to see that cut down. The editing in the movie is extremely confusing. There's a lot of passage of time. What happened?
I'm listening.
Oh, it's like I'm only the one on screen here.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to talk, so I just sit here and you're doing the show now. See how you left me? So this is what it feels like, Richard.
All right, then let me have my time here. The editing was a bit confusing at times. They would jump ahead a few years here and there. So I had no idea if we were changing locations or suddenly jumping ahead in time. So it would continually make me stop and wonder what's going on here, which takes me out of the movie, which is no fun. Vito and Michael's relationship, I had no understanding of what was going on there. They set it up where Michael was out in the military and he had no part of the family business. He wasn't ignorant of the family business, but he didn't want to be a part of it for some reason. Now, in the sequel, they mention a bit more about how he got into the military, but none of that is clear in the beginning in the first film. So I wasn't sure if that was his decision to go, if the family kind of pushed him back from the business. So I had no idea how he stood. Like, it seemed like he really didn't want to have anything to do with the family business, but it wasn't very clear. And the relationship between him and Vito, again, the whole thing with him taking over, I didn't see that transformation, because you have him wanting nothing to do with it. Then suddenly he decides to help out his father after he's been shot. But then the decision to take over the business seemed like a really big jump. And you never really got a sense of what the two of them were like together, because they don't have a conversation together until like the final 30 minutes of the movie. Is Deer Hunter too long? I've never seen the Deer Hunter. I have no idea.
Am I allowed to come back now and talk, or?
This is the episode, so whatever you want to do.
So am I allowed to respond to any of that or not? Like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do to offend you now.
Well, letting me have my opinion and not telling me I'm wrong.
Let you have your opinion. I just disagreed with your opinion. There's a difference between saying your opinion's wrong and saying I disagree with your opinion. And all I did was disagree with your opinion. I didn't say you were wrong. I disagreed.
No, the wedding season. No, wrong. That has to go.
I disagree. That's all. You tell me I'm wrong all the time. Like, what's wrong here now?
Because I know the setup for this episode. You got two films that you adore, and if I say anything negative about it, I'm going to be told, "Oh no, you're wrong."
If you brought up a fair point, then I'd say fair point, which happens all the time. Mm-hmm. You say something, and I'm like, "That's a fair point." Do I not? I'm saying that is not a fair point, because all that stuff was necessary to set up what happens later on.
Not all of it. And there's another problem I have with the movie, is that despite all of the constant wedding scenes and everything,
there's only one wedding scene.
Yeah, it goes on forever. Despite all the footage from that wedding, you still don't have a clear understanding of some of these characters because they don't get decent coverage. If I didn't know who Talia Shire was from the Rocky movies, I wouldn't be able to put together that she was the same character, that was the same character from the wedding, and then when they show her again later on, because she has very few scenes, and they never really put anyone so close that you can really see them. Her husband, Carlo, by the time they get to that scene where he's on the porch and Sonny's going to come beat him up, I had no idea who they were showing me. They show this guy sitting on the porch. I never got a close-up shot of him at the wedding or at any of the dinners. So it takes you a second of like, who is that? What's going on here? Then because of the context of the story, you can figure it out, but you got to stop for a minute and think like, who is that guy? The same for the mother. They
mother's show her not very important to the
but movie. I had no idea who she was. It wasn't until the second movie that they show her, like, that's the lady that was singing at the beginning at the wedding. oh, that's her mother. Like,
that's his wife.
Yeah, they never show these characters. Like, as much as they build on the family relationship between some characters, others are just seem like they're completely left out in the open.
Okay. We can go in circles about that all day long. I got to bring up something else, though. You said you did not understand how Michael went from being this kid who did not want any part of the business to running the business. That's what the whole movie was about. Mm-hmm. Like the whole scene.
Right. Where I never saw that.
Now who's getting cut off? Who can't talk now? Who can't say their opinion now? The whole scene where his father gets shot, and then Michael goes and visits his father, and then he has to step up because he doesn't want his father to get killed. He loves his father. And while he's doing all of this, it's pretty apparent that he is really good at being this mafia, being part of the mafia. He's really good at it. He spots that, hey, there's supposed to be guards here. He takes charge. He knows who to call. He knows who to bring in. He knew what to do while waiting for them to show up. That was all stuff that Sonny, that Tom, that Fredo would not be able to do. They were not, because, Sonny's the hothead. Tom's the thinking guy. And Fredo, well, he just doesn't have it. Michael was the guy who had it. So he just kind of slowly stepped into the role. There was a time shift there, after, and then, they sent him away. And then there was like a couple of years there while he was in Italy and all that, and then comes back, which they do say. He says that to Kay. Him and Kay have a conversation about how long he's gone and how much time has passed. So I didn't find that was any fault of the movie. That's all there in the movie. A
lot of it came across as expository.
I got a question. Did you watch this in one sitting, or did you watch it in 20-minute chunks?
Probably about 4 sittings.
Yeah. See, yeah.
I don't have 3 hours.
So I don't think we could recommend these kind of movies for you to watch, because that's just, you can't be watching this. I understand that.
I have life responsibilities.
I understand that, but I don't think like you can, like, this is not a movie where you can just watch 20 minutes at a time and then come back to. So I was kind of worried about that. I was worried that that would affect this, because
if you want my overall, like, beyond all the questions and concerns I have, my overall opinion is these are 2 really good movies. They're worth watching, and there's a lot of great stuff in there as far as the performances, the characters, the atmosphere. One thing I read about these movies is that there's more atmosphere than there is story. A lot of it is just taking in the scenes, and all that stuff is great. But there are a lot of little things in there that it just don't make sense to me. I've got questions about. Some of it is because someone like you who's seen them, I don't know, a dozen times over the course of your life.
Yeah.
You've had time to absorb all this. I'm guessing your very first watch of this, you didn't have all of these little admiration for every little detail in there.
I don't know.
There's so much stuff. I don't understand why Michael got married in Sicily.
He thought he was there staying and fell in love. That's all.
And then he just gets married again. Like I mean, some of the relationship stuff in here doesn't make sense. And you can say that's how it was. That's just how it was. No,
they're complex characters. They're not simpletons that just, he had to go there. He thought he was done with Kay. He thought he could not go back to Kay because, they were after him. And if he did, they would kill her too. So he ended that relationship and he moved on. He was in Italy, and what happens in Italy stays in Italy, I guess. Like, it was done. He was done. He had to come back to Kay afterwards. It wasn't like, oh, let's just restart our relationship. He had to win her back. So it was like a done relationship. And then he went there and, that relationship might have worked out, but, didn't end out well.
No, it doesn't sit well.
I mean, you can not like it, but to me, it makes sense. It's not something that didn't make sense.
The car bomb that ends up killing his Italian wife there.
Yeah.
His bodyguard was behind that.
Yep.
Why?
Who knows? Money. They had something over him.
I'm
Gambling
really
debt.
wondering. Like, did I miss something? Like
No.
the guard who was with them.
The
whole
guard
time?
just turned on him.
Suddenly.
Just turned on him. Yeah, there was nothing like they never explained that. They never explained why. I don't think that's something that really needed an explanation. That was pretty much like he started walking away. You're like, oh crap, there's another guy who's going to turn on Michael, because there's people turning on people left, right, and center in these movies. So what's another one? I don't know. That's not a big deal to me.
What is a big deal to me, which I think is, I'd love to hear your defense of this one. The scene between Vito and Anthony. Right at the end, when Vito has his heart attack, he's there with his grandson.
Yeah,
playing in the garden. Now, I don't know if this is a Brando thing of how he didn't like to rehearse and everything had to be like in the moment, or if it was just a decision. Hey, let's put some kid in here with him to get like a real reaction. But you could tell there's one point where he's doing like the orange peel in his mouth, doing the teeth thing. And he looks at the kid, and that kid jumps. Like, he is legitimately frightened. They got some real-life reaction there.
Yeah.
Completely took me out of the movie. It's like, all I'm thinking about is they just threw this kid in there with Brando. And, like, I can't... Like, I'm not watching the scene. I'm watching them just record a kid who is just with this stranger just bouncing around the screen, and it just looks like a blooper reel. That whole scene just took me out of the movie completely.
How dare they get a genuine reaction out of an actor? You're right, that was really bad and real poor taste.
When it's a little kid that has no idea what's going on, and that's all you see, that scene looked completely goofy.
Okay. Did you catch the oranges? Because when he got shot, and there was the oranges, and then he was messing around with the kid with the oranges.
I saw a lot of fruit in both of these movies. They really had a thing for fruit.
There you go. Sarah's on my side. Thought the kid was great. Very good. That's all. And Italians are passionate. There you go.
That's all you need.
That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. And Sarah was upset that Michael turned on Kay. But what was he going to do? He couldn't go back to her. The mob would get to her. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
47 minutes in. Let's get to Godfather 2 because it's time.
Nino Rota and Carmine.
I'm not even going to rewind this. This thing won a ton.
Adapted from another medium.
Of
Francis Ford Coppola
awards.
And Mario Puzo. Best art direction and set decoration. Art direction, Dean Tavoularis and Angelo Graham. Set decoration, George R. Nelson.
Best picture.
I'm guessing this is not the original trailer.
This is it. This is the original.
So they knew it won Best Picture before
yeah.
played.
The history of 2 generations of crime.
Oh, this is like a real trailer.
I told you it was.
Absolute power and the men.
No, I mean it's got the trailer guy and everything.
The Godfather.
I think just that beginning was added on.
Don Vito Corleone and his son Michael both had seen the ones they loved most cut down.
That's the last shot of the movie.
Both had killed as an act of vengeance.
Spoiler.
Both commanded the most powerful and merciless crime organization in the world.
Is it true that in the year 1950, you devised the murder of the heads of the so-called 5 families in New York? It's a complete falsehood.
They would take any measures.
When you've won, you want to wipe everybody out?
I don't feel I have to wipe everybody out, Tom.
Just my enemies.
Forgot to have us in there.
Make any arrangement.
Michael, we're bigger
That guy had
than
some serious
US
hair.
Steel.
Order
Oh, body
any
hair,
death
yeah.
to protect the
Spoiler.
empire they controlled. The Godfather and his heir, both were men of ice, and both were targets.
Please, please stay inside. Keep them alive. We'll try. Alive!
The Godfather Part 2 is Sicily in 1921 and Nevada in 1958. It is revolution in Havana and rubouts in New York. It is manipulation.
It would be like trying to kill the president. There's no way we can get to him.
If anything in this life is certain,
Eating
if
fruit.
history's taught us anything, it says you can kill anyone.
It is murder. And it is betrayal.
That's a big spoiler.
A son and I had him killed because this.
That's a huge spoiler. That's- oh my god.
The Godfather Part
Hey,
2
they-
is the final
they let it
chapter
all
in the
go.
Oh,
violent
it's in the
history of
theater.
the
I gotta
Corleone
see that again.
There you go.
It is the motion picture masterpiece of the year.
It's the motion picture masterpiece. All right, that's enough. That's good. You got it. All right, let's go with the rundown. The early life and career of Vito Corleone in the 1920s New York City is portrayed while his son Michael expands and tightens his grip on the family crime syndicate.
I lost
Film-
my tab. There it is.
Film stars Al Pacino, Bobby De Niro, and Robert Duvall. The director is Francis Ford Coppola. The writing credits are Coppola and Mario Puzo again. The runtime is 3 hours and 22 minutes. The budget is $13 million. The box office, this only made between 48 and 88 million.
Which is a large gap. I don't understand why the numbers are so far between. Do you think they would know these things by now?
I don't
It is
trust
a lot of
these
money.
numbers. A lot of these numbers I don't trust on the.
It was not a flop.
No,
It
it
did
definitely was
okay.
not. No. Okay, go ahead. Give us our first fun fact.
Fun facts. Now, I separated these by category.
Okay.
First one here. Robert De Niro spent 4 months learning to speak the Sicilian dialect in order to play Vito Corleone. Nearly all of the dialogue that his character speaks in the film was in Sicilian. He also lived in Sicily for a little bit in preparation for that.
I like to this was another touch where when he went to talk to, this was in the first movie, but when Michael went over to Italy and he knew Sicilian, but he didn't know the dialect of the local Sicilian. So he still needed a translator to talk to the father because the dialect in Italy, it's more streamlined now with technology, but even back in the 50s, it varied from even city to city. Like people would say different things. And like my family is from Parma, which is like north of, like in the northern part of Italy. And on The Sopranos, for instance, they're Sicilian. And the stuff that they talk about, like the stuff that they name things and that's totally different than what my family did because it was just a different dialect.
I think I read somewhere that he was supposed to do that, but he just couldn't.
Oh,
So
really?
Just as an actor, he couldn't get the lines out in Sicilian. So,
Well, maybe that was another happy accident. Al Pacino caused problems throughout production, demanding a massive salary and heavy script rewrites. He frequently complained about Francis Ford Coppola's slow pace, yelling, "Serpico," only took 19 days and threatened to quit. Wow. I did not know that.
yeah, get ready for more of these. Originally, It was supposed to be Clemenza who agrees to testify against the Corleones. According to Francis Ford Coppola, Richard S. Castellano, who is the highest paid actor in The Godfather, Higher than Brando?
What? Really?
Wanted to write his own lines and wanted a large salary increase. Consequently, his character was replaced by Frank Pentalagelli,
Sure.
Who received an Oscar nom for his performance. And then there's
Really?
something else. And they're saying somebody else says he didn't want to do it because he didn't have to gain the weight back to play Clemenza.
Oh. Come on, get a fat suit, Clemenza. James Caan asked that he be paid the same amount of money to play Santino, Sonny Corleone, at the end of the film in the flashback he was paid to do in The Godfather. He got his wish. He got paid the same amount to do that little scene.
35 grand.
That's a good day. That's a good day of work.
Marlon Brando was scheduled to return for a cameo in the flashback at the end of the film, but because of the way Paramount Pictures treated him during The Godfather, he did not show up for shooting on the day the scene was filmed, so Coppola rewrote the scene without Vito. It was filmed the next day. I can't believe these people. These are terrible fun facts where they all benefited hugely from that film. They got paid well. They got great recognition. So many people, if they weren't already big names, they were cemented. Like, you have a place in Hollywood after the success of this film. And they said, you know what? Come back to do another one. I want this. I want this. I'm not going to do it unless this. I need the money to be right. And then some of them who don't even show up. Marlon Brando couldn't show up for one day.
Well, Marlon Brando was already like
that was him.
He was already sending a Native American to go accept his Oscar for the first film. He was already out to, but I mean, you look at what these actors were paid to be in that movie, and this was 1972, so there wasn't a lot of like tie-in with the royalties and all that stuff. They weren't getting, the back end of this movie. And meanwhile, the movie went on to make, according to these numbers, $287 million in 1972 bucks. So you look at that and you think to yourself, yeah, maybe I am worth $35,000 to do a scene of shooting, basically.
To do a day.
So I don't know. I see it from both sides.
I forget which one. I think it's the second one, but Pacino, I think, got 10% of the film's gross.
Of the second one?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like the heavy demands to get these people back.
That is something else.
They get awards, they get recognition. It's not enough.
Okay, I'm going to be quiet while you tell me what you thought. Do you want me to say something or not?
I just want to be able to say my opinion.
Okay, I'm going to be quiet while you say
your opinion. Here's my opinion.
Okay, I'm going to be quiet while you say your opinion on The Godfather 2.
I don't think I wrote any notes down for this one. Yeah, this one I didn't have as many questions. It was a little more clear, but this could have been two different movies. I did not enjoy the constant cutback between Vito and Michael. I would have much rather just heard Michael's story.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the first movie was better.
Well, there is an alternate cut of both of these movies where they do it all in sequential order and kind of turn it into a miniseries. So I agree. I do like the cuts back and forth between. I like that contrast. But all the stuff from the Vito stuff was in the original book, and a lot of the Michael stuff was added for this movie. There's some taken from the book, but a lot of it was added for this movie. And I know a lot of people like Godfather 2 better than the first one. I am more in the camp of the first one. I think the first one is truly lightning in a bottle. I think like Brando's job in that first movie was ballsy and brilliant. I mean, to put cotton in your mouth like that and talk, like not enunciate every word in that's really ballsy stuff to do. And I think what the first movie said is just kind of rehashed in the second movie. It's the same thing. It's like, okay, Michael was like, you look at Michael's story arc, it's almost the exact same, except that they kind of
everything, all the beats are the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do find that this one is a little too long. There are scenes that go a little too much. I would cut stuff out from this one. But still, this movie, like, it has many, like, I thought like the whole Cuba thing and all that was a little, too much convoluted, and I think they really only needed the Congress, the scene with Congress and the guy turning on him and all that stuff, and whether to see how that would pan out. I don't think they needed the whole Cuba thing, and this whole thing with Michael trying to go legit all the time. I don't know. Anyways, I thought there are some brilliant scenes though in the movie, brilliant moments. I still remember that gut punch the first time that Kay told Michael that she killed his baby. That really threw me for a loop. I love the whole stuff with Fredo. Fredo, you broke my heart. I know it was you, Fredo, and you broke my heart. I just love that scene so much. And what happens to Fredo. And I daily walk around this house saying, I'm smart. I'm smart too, Michael. Especially when I do smart things. I say, I'm smart. So I still love it. I still think it's great. I gave the Godfather 5 out of 5 stars. I'd only give this 4.5 stars out of, because it is a little too long. But that's it. There you go. See, was that so bad? That wasn't so bad.
I'm trying to recall something. The abortion bit.
Yes.
Written by Talia Shire. That was her idea. That was her idea. It was supposed to be a miscarriage. And then she said, hey, how about this? That would really get him. Coppola loved it. Said, all right, we're putting that in. And to reward her, that scene at the end where she's like crying, going to Michael, like, hey, go forgive Fredo. That scene was written for her because she had given that input about the abortion. And it's like, hey, we got another scene for you. Thanks for that.
That's interesting.
She got an Oscar nomination for her part, even though she's like she's really not in the movie that much.
No. And she got a nomination for Best Supporting Actress?
Yeah, I believe so. For the second
I imagine she didn't win. Probably
not.
And Sarah says, I'm smart. It's Maart. I'm smart. Smart. That's and yes, that scene that was effective. It was a gut punch. It punched me.
You do see the contemporary Pacino peek up a few times in the film.
Too much. Yes.
There was that, like, I really have a hard time seeing the Pacino in the first movie as being Al Pacino, because physically he just seems to look so different, and then the voice is so different. He really seems like another person. In the second one, you get some of those Pacino moments.
Yeah, it's a little too much. I agree, and
I don't know if it's too much. There are some points, like when she in that scene with the abortion, you see his chin's going, and he's about to break.
Oh yeah, it wasn't every time. It wasn't every time. It just felt like as if he kind of went from 0 to 60 a little too quick on some things where it just didn't really warrant it. And Michael is like really ruthless in this movie, like really ruthless. And in like, see, that's a little turn with the character that I think where they went a little too far, because he'd be smarter than that, because how can he get anyone to trust him if he would kill? Spoiler alert! If he would kill his brother like that, he can't get. How can you get anyone to trust you? So you'd think that he would be a little smarter than that. You can just keep Fredo off to the side. You don't need to see him at all. You can get around with not bothering with him. But I guess with Mama's funeral there, I guess he kind of ran into him again, and he's like, that's it. I got to get this guy out of my life. But it was really a ruthless thing to do. Plus his mother had just died. So he was waiting for his mother to die, basically, to kill his brother, which makes for an effective ending, though.
Yeah. I totally forgot what I was going to say now. Or something along those lines. I think one of the most ruthless things he did was when Kay is saying goodbye to the kids, and it was like, hurry up, he's coming. You got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And she's doing all the goodbyes and everything. She's at the door. She's standing in the doorway trying to get her son to give her a hug. And Michael walks in, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what is he going to do? You know, what level is he going to go to? And I was thinking in my head, what is the most horrible thing he could do right now? And that's what he did.
Yeah,
that's what he did. It
He's
was
ruthless.
so quiet, deliberate, cold.
Yeah.
It was like if it had gone any other way, it'd be like, that didn't really come off great. It was so like perfectly brutal.
Yeah. See, that's when the movie was at its best, when it's about Michael and Kay and all that stuff. I just feel like all that Cuba stuff could have just
could have went away. Yeah.
It was really unnecessary, I thought.
Yeah, and it was, again, the same thing I had with issues in the first movie. There's some edits where you can't really tell if they've changed location or time, and it takes you a little bit to get into each scene. Like, where are they still in that same location? Is he somewhere else now? Some of the geography just wasn't sitting well with me.
Well, if there's one fault that you can give both the movies, I think that where it doesn't do its service is it's a movie that takes place in different decades, but everything looks like the 70s. You know, all the hairstyles, but it doesn't really feel like they're in the 50s, but doesn't really feel like the 50s at times. It's okay. It's not as bad. Like Sonny's hair, like James Caan's hair is way too long. You know, like nobody was wearing long hair like that in the 50s. Everyone had like a short cut. Not enough fedoras and all, even though fedoras were kind of going out in the 50s, and Vito wore one. But still, like, if the wardrobe changed, like they didn't really change the wardrobes enough to fit in with the times, I feel. So that's part of it. But I don't know. For the most part, I didn't have problems with the time changes. The third movie is really bad for that, which we could get into, but not too much.
I didn't get that far.
Well, there's no point in watching the third one.
That's what I hear.
But see, again, like that was like another beat from the first movie, right? In the first movie, they were trying to get out of New York and go to Nevada to make the business legit again, right? And again, in this movie, it's like, okay, let's get out of Nevada and let's go to Cuba and make money in Cuba to make it legit. But again, like Michael shows how smart he is when he's like, he sees that whole display with the cops and the rebels, and he realizes that this thing it's not gonna be good times. Like the rebels don't care if they live or die, and this is something that's not just going to go away within a couple of weeks or something like that. This is something that's going to be bigger than what it is. So I would know I was there. Where was I? In the 50s? Very funny, Steven. I think Steven's older than me, though, isn't he? Isn't Steven like in his 50s? Like 55 or something like that? Pretty sure. Anyways. Anything else you'd like to say?
I'm trying to go back. It's so much in all of these. I don't know. Overall, yeah, really good atmosphere, a bunch of good characters, a bunch of good scenes and everything, but I think the second one I was able to watch in 2 sittings. Yeah, I could have done without the bouncing back and forth, but that's about it. Talking about Michael being too ruthless and making bad decisions. That's kind of what Tom Hardy, what was his name? Hagen?
Robert Duvall?
Yeah. What he was saying at the end when he's talking to not Clemenza at the prison, about, those were the good old days, it used to be great, so it's kind of like people are seeing Michael's not quite doing a good a job. They're worried about how he's handling business. But, that's the thing. It's, you go from where he was at the beginning of the first movie of just like the young kid who didn't want anything to do with the business to now being the guy who's in charge of everything and having to, have hits upon his own family. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tragic story. It's like a Macbeth kind of, William Shakespeare tragedy. Character goes from being pious to not so pious. All right. Godfather Part 3, all I'll say is that this movie is terrible. It takes place in 1979. And I know I just criticized the other movies for kind of looking the 70s, but this was really bad. It looks like 1989. Like all the hairstyles, everything. What?
Can I ask, do you know the reasoning behind the third film? Because
No,
72, 74, jump ahead to 1990.
My guess is that Francis Ford Coppola lost a lot of money making Apocalypse Now. Then he had like some kind of floppy movies after that. And the way Hollywood works is, what have you done for me lately? Right? So, okay, let's make a Godfather 3. This will make gobs of money on the name alone. Let's get whomever we can back to make a third movie. And then after that, I'll be able to make whatever movie I want. That's my guess, is what happens. It's that struggle to be relevant, right? Like every person who craves attention always struggles to be relevant. Just like this show. We struggle to be relevant. We only have 30 people watching or listening at times, so we have to pull stunts like Richard leaving in the middle of the show to hope that we get someone's attention. It's sad. But that's my guess. But anyways, it's completely unnecessary. The movie is originally Francis Ford Coppola wanted to name it The Death of Michael Corleone. So the movie actually trolls you a few times to making you believe that Michael Corleone is going to die at some point, but then he doesn't. And then it's this really lame ending at the end when he dies of old age. The movie ends and then it fast forwards to current time or whatever, and he dies of old age. It was very sad. The whole thing is not thought out very well. He's got this. So you know how Sonny Corleone was? He had that girl on the side that he was banging. He had his wife, and then he had the girl that he was.
See, I couldn't tell. Was that his wife or his girl?
No, it was.
You don't get screen coverage of a lot of these characters.
Okay,
I
so
always assumed that girl was his wife.
No, see, if you're a matron of honor or even like a bridesmaid in an Italian wedding, you are a single woman. You couldn't be a married woman and be a bridesmaid in Italian. So right away you knew that he was banging someone on the side. So maybe there's just like those little things that you kind of know, and then whatever. Anyways, so he was banging that girl on the side. So he has a son. She has a son. Sonny's son, and he's a bastard child, right? Because he wasn't. He's played by Andy Garcia, and he becomes like Michael's protege. Michael accepts him into the family, even though he is a bastard, and then eventually makes him a member of the family, and then he takes over the business. Meanwhile, this guy is the worst. Like, he is making mistakes left, right, and center, and not only that, he is dating Michael Corleone's daughter. So you have this love story in the film between two first cousins, and everyone's telling them it's wrong, but they're like Romeo and Juliet, star-crossed love, like they're just in love with each other, and I don't know who thought this was a good idea for a movie. You're watching, you can't get behind these two characters because they're doing something so wrong. It makes you want to vomit in your mouth a little. Like what kind of kids are they going to have? And I don't know. It was really bad. Really bad. There was nothing redeeming about it. You got Eli Wallach, who does like an okay role, but even like you can tell, Joey Zaza is played by Joe Montana. That not Joe Montana, the football player. What's that guy's name? I can't remember. The guy that does Tony in The Simpsons. He does a voice. Can't remember his name. Yeah. Anyways, he plays the villain in the movie, and he's just not very good. You need for the Godfather films, you need like somebody at least a little bit intimidating. Yes, and Bill's right. There was no on-screen chemistry between the two characters, and it was Francis Ford Coppola's daughter, Sofia Coppola, that was playing the daughter. She's not a very good actress. Tony Montana, of course, it's rocket sauce with The Simpsons. Would know the guy's name. Anyways, it's not a very good film. So that's it. All I got left is I can start gushing about scenes in the first movie, but Richard didn't like it, so
that's not what I said.
we got nothing.
That's not what I
nothing
said.
left.
I do a 4-star rating system, and I gave the first one 3.5 stars.
And what would you give the second
one? 3 stars.
Yeah, that's a little low, in my opinion. I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just my opinion. That's a little low.
You can have your opinion.
All right.
Let me have my opinion.
How am I not letting you have your opinion?
I'm just saying.
Just going to leave the show again. Better
say what I want to say.
What about that scene in the first movie, though, in that restaurant? Wasn't that so great how that was all done?
The shooting?
Yeah, well, not just the shooting, but the whole setup to it, where they're explaining to him what he has to do and all that stuff, and then when he gets there, all that was
there are a lot of great things in these movies. I appreciate.
I just want to gush over the movie a little. There's no need to be defensive. Okay. I just want to gush over the movie a bit.
You need to get some people that have seen this 100 times, like you have, and you can quote them and do all this and all that.
I've only seen it about a dozen times, so I'd have a lot of catching up to do. But I just like how that scene was all set up, where Michael, he's the kid, and he doesn't know what to do, and they're teaching him what to do, and they're giving him all the pointers and everything like that. So when it gets to that scene, and where the gun is supposed to be and all that stuff, I just thought that was all executed really brilliantly. And that guy, that mafia guy, Al, he's played by Al Laerty, I think his name is. I can't remember his last name, but he died in the 70s, and he's only in a handful of movies. And one of them is Mr. Majestic, and he's fantastic in that. And the other one he's in is The Getaway, where he plays the villain in that with Steve McQueen. That's another great movie. He was a really great actor, and he just died way too soon. Speaking of which, the guy who plays Fredo, his name is John Cazal. I think that's how you say his name, Cazale. He died in the 70s as well. He died at the age of 42. Now, listen to this. He played Fredo in The Godfather 1 and 2. Then he only did 3 other movies. The 3 other movies were The Conversation, Dog Day Afternoon, and The Deer Hunter. All high up on, the best movies of all time lists. And he only did, so every movie that he did was Oscar caliber films. So I was going to suggest for the next Filmdango that we just wrap up this guy's entire career. You could, because we saw Godfather 1 and 2, and then we can watch the other 3 movies that he did. But considering how you reacted to this movie, I don't think we should, because those are, especially The Deer Hunter, are longer films, and I don't think
longer.
Not longer than The Godfather, just in they're long films, I'll say.
Oh, okay. Hang on.
They might, I don't know, Deer Hunter might be longer. I'm not sure how long The Deer Hunter is. I know it's a slower moving film. But seeing how you didn't appreciate the pacing,
3 hours and 4 minutes for The Deer Hunter.
3 hours and 4 minutes. So that's the same length as the first movie.
About,
yeah. So I don't think it's a good idea to do those movies. I think I'll just watch them again on my own. I'll do my own.
I have no problem with the pacing. It's the length. It's the duration of that pace.
I'll give you the second film. It does go on a little too long, but that first one is just, there's not a thing to cut from it. So I don't know what we're doing next month. I'd say you just pick something fun. You go ahead. You pick it.
I have no idea. I thought about movies I want to watch. I don't know. To be announced.
Okay. So next month, Richard's going to pick something. Hopefully he'll show up next week. I don't. Hopefully.
Hey, you never know. Maybe this is the straw. That was it.
Well, that's it for the episode, I guess. Head over to our Discord channel. Let us know what you thought of the Godfather movies. And then after you've done that, let us know what you thought of Richard leaving the show. Let us.
Do you want to see more stunts like that in the future?
Do you want to see Kevin leave the show?
Do
you want us to introduce a character and then just kick them off the show? Anything goes here. Anything, we will do whatever pleases you, because that's all we care about. It's making you happy.
We'll even make a Godfather 3 just to make you happy.
It'd be our cash in sequel, cash in threequel. What is the third movie called? Is it just one of the sequels, or is it a? Well, I don't know if we can get. Steven wants J-Rock.
J-Rock's in retirement.
Yeah, he only comes out for one thing, and that's Ghostbusters, and nothing else. Nothing. We could have Paul Stanley from Kiss right here. Still wouldn't get him.
So we can do the we can do a 2016 Ghostbusters review. Get J-Rock
if you want. Yeah, if you want, I'm up for that. I'll definitely have nothing positive to say. I'm not watching it again. I remember everything I hate about that movie, so I have no problem. That'd be an easy month for me.
Do you really remember everything you hate? I can't remember much at all.
Well, I watched the movie, and it made me vomit in my mouth. And then I watched Mr. Plinkett, and I was like, oh, yes, right. So it's kind of like I watched the movie twice, I guess. But I remember enough. Yes. You know what? I would just watch Mr. Plinkett again. I wouldn't watch that. Was that a Mr. Plinkett, or was that just those guys, Red Letter Media? I don't know.
I think they did both.
Bill wants to do Lawrence of Arabia. I think that one's 4 hours long.
Oh, gosh.
There's no way we can get... Long movies are out. If it's over 2 hours, forget it.
That's not I can't watch it. It's just I usually can't sit down in one sitting.
You didn't follow these ones very well. You didn't follow them, I must say, because the stuff was there.
3.5 stars out of 4 stars. 3 stars out of 4 stars.
Steven wants us to
like
stop.
Positive reviews.
Does Steven want the show to end? Is that what
Stop listening.
Stop talking? Yeah, you can leave at any time. We're not holding a gun to your head.
I have proven you can leave at any time.
Apparently, even if you're on the show, you could just...
Do I need to demonstrate?
Yeah, go make a cup of tea. Well, let's go make some tea.
Now.
Let's just do it right now. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye.
Bye.